Captain Deho stood on the bridge of the Stellar Harmony and watched the blue planet grow larger on the main screen. Earth looked peaceful from this distance, with its white clouds and brown continents spinning slowly in the darkness of space. He had seen many worlds during his 30 years of service with the Galactic Federation, but this one felt different somehow. "Sir, we are now in position at the edge of their solar system," reported Lieutenant Yuna from the sensor station. Her long fingers moved across the control panel with practiced ease. "The humans do not seem to know we are here yet." Deho nodded and turned to his science officer. Chief Science Officer Hyejin was studying her instruments with the careful attention that made her species, the Kalari, such excellent researchers. Her pale blue skin seemed to glow softly under the bridge lights, and her large dark eyes never missed a detail. "What do your scans tell us about their technology level?" Deho asked. Hyejin looked up from her console and shook her head slowly. "They are still very primitive, Captain. Their fastest ships use chemical fuel that burns very hot to push them forward. They have some basic fusion reactors for power, but nothing close to what they would need for space travel between stars. I estimate they are at least 200 years away from understanding how to bend space for faster travel." "Good," Deho said, though he felt a small sadness at the words. Every species the Federation encountered had to wait so long before they could join the community of star-traveling peoples. It was safer this way, but it always seemed cruel to keep knowledge from those who wanted to learn. Ambassador Minsu walked onto the bridge carrying a data pad filled with information about human culture and languages. He was shorter than most of his species, but his calm manner made him perfect for first contact situations. "Captain, I have finished studying the human communication methods. They seem to have many different languages, but I can speak with them using the one they call English." "Excellent," Deho replied. "Are you ready to make contact?" "Yes, sir. I suggest we approach their space station first. It orbits their world and seems to be where they do their most advanced space work. If we contact them there, we will be speaking with their best scientists and leaders." Deho agreed with this plan. The Federation had learned long ago that first contact went more smoothly when they spoke directly with a species' most intelligent members. "Very well. Take us to their orbital station, but move slowly. We do not want to frighten them." The Stellar Harmony moved through space like a giant silver fish swimming through dark water. Its warp drive was completely silent, folding space around the ship so smoothly that even the most sensitive instruments would have trouble detecting the distortion. Behind the main ship, 11 other Federation vessels followed in perfect formation. As they drew closer to Earth, Hyejin's instruments began picking up more details about human technology. "Captain, I am seeing radio transmissions from the planet. The humans are definitely aware that something is happening. Their space telescopes have spotted us." "That is expected," Deho said. "Any species that can build orbital stations will have instruments good enough to see large objects moving in their solar system. Minsu, open a communication channel to their space station." The ambassador moved to the communication console and began working with the human languages he had learned. After a few moments, a crackling voice came through the speakers, speaking in the human tongue called English. "Unknown vessels. This is Commander Tae-min Kim of the International Space Station. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions." Minsu looked at Deho, who nodded for him to respond. "Greetings, Commander Kim. I am Ambassador Minsu of the Galactic Federation. We come in peace to make first contact with your species. We would be honored to meet with representatives of your people." There was a long silence from the human station. Deho could imagine the excitement and fear that the humans must be feeling. First contact was always a shock, no matter how ready a species thought they were. Finally, Commander Kim's voice came back, steadier now. "Ambassador Minsu, this is unexpected. We would very much like to meet with you as well. We have two of our best people here on the station right now. Dr. Ji-won Park is one of our top scientists who studies the physics of space and time. Admiral Tae-min Kim leads our space defense forces." "Perfect," Minsu replied. "Would it be acceptable if I came to your station in a small shuttle? I would bring only a few assistants and no weapons." "Yes, that would be fine." We will prepare a docking bay for you. Daeho watched as Minsu prepared for the historic meeting. The ambassador changed into formal robes that showed his diplomatic status and selected 2 junior officers to accompany him. The shuttle they would take was small and looked harmless, but it contained technology far beyond anything the humans had ever seen. Remember, Daeho told Minsu before he left, follow standard first contact procedures. Be friendly, but do not share any advanced technology until we know more about their culture and intentions. Some species become dangerous when they gain powerful tools too quickly. I understand, Captain. I will be careful. The shuttle departed from the Stellar Harmony and flew toward the human space station. Daeho watched it go and felt the familiar mixture of hope and worry that came with every first contact mission. Sometimes these meetings led to wonderful friendships between species. Sometimes they led to problems that took centuries to solve. On the space station, Dr. Jiwon Park floated in the zero gravity and tried to calm her racing heart. She was a physicist who had spent her whole career studying the deepest mysteries of the universe, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. Real aliens were coming to visit, and they wanted to talk with her. Admiral Taemin Kim was more composed, but Jiwon could see the tension in his shoulders. As the military commander responsible for protecting Earth's orbital facilities, he was probably thinking about defense and security. But Jiwon's mind was racing with questions about alien science and technology. The alien shuttle approached the station with impossible smoothness. There was no visible exhaust from engines, no heat signature that their instruments could detect. Whatever pushed the small ship through space was completely beyond human understanding. When the shuttle docked, Jiwon and Admiral Kim waited in the main airlock. The door opened with a soft hiss, and 3 beings stepped through. Ambassador Minsu was tall and thin, with skin that had a slight golden color and eyes that seemed much older than his face. His 2 assistants looked similar but younger. Dr. Park, Admiral Kim, Minsu said in perfect English. Thank you for welcoming us to your station. This is a great honor for the Galactic Federation. The honor is ours, Jiwon replied, trying to keep her voice steady. We have so many questions about your people and your technology. And we have questions about yours, Minsu said, with what might have been a smile. Perhaps we could talk in a comfortable place. They moved to the station's main conference room where Earth's blue surface filled the large viewing window. Minsu looked at the planet with obvious interest. Your world is very beautiful. We have visited many planets, but few are as rich with life as this one. Thank you, Admiral Kim said. Can you tell us about this Galactic Federation? How many species belong to it? The Federation includes 47 different species from across this part of the galaxy, Minsu explained. We work together to explore space, share knowledge, and help younger civilizations develop safely. Younger civilizations? Jiwon asked. You mean species like us? Yes. Each species must reach certain levels of technology and social development before they can safely join the Federation. Advanced technology can be very dangerous in the wrong hands. Jiwon felt a small disappointment at these words. She had been hoping the aliens might share some of their scientific knowledge, especially about faster-than-light travel. Her whole career had been spent trying to understand how space and time worked, and these beings obviously knew secrets that humans could only dream about. We understand, Admiral Kim said. But perhaps you could tell us a little about how your ships travel between the stars. We have always wondered if such travel was possible. Minsu hesitated for a moment. It is possible, but the science is very complex. Your species will discover these methods naturally when you are ready. Such knowledge cannot be rushed. As they talked, Jiwon found herself studying every detail of Minsu's equipment. His communicator looked like a simple metal disc, but it must have contained incredible technology to translate between their languages so perfectly. His clothing seemed to be made from materials that changed color slightly as he moved. Even his breathing apparatus, which he wore like a thin necklace, was clearly far beyond human science. But most interesting of all was what she could see through the conference room window. The alien shuttle hung in space next to the station, and Jiwon could observe its shape and design. There were no visible engines, no obvious fuel tanks, no heat radiators that human spacecraft needed. Whatever made it fly was hidden inside that smooth metal hull. The meeting lasted for 3 hours. Min-Soo asked many questions about human culture, government, and technology. He seemed particularly interested in how different human nations worked together on space projects. Ji-won and Admiral Kim answer. Captain Dae-ho stood in his ready room looking at the reports that had come in from various Federation departments. The humans seemed peaceful enough, but their technology was definitely more advanced than it appeared on the surface. His security chief had detected several anomalous energy readings from the outer parts of Earth's solar system, almost as if the humans had hidden installations among the asteroids. "Sir," Lieutenant Yuna's voice came through the communication system. "Ambassador Min-Soo is requesting to see you. Send him in." The ambassador entered carrying a data pad full of notes from his meetings with the humans. He looked thoughtful, which Dae-ho had learned meant that Min-Soo was working through a complex diplomatic problem. "Captain, I believe we should demonstrate our warp capability to the humans," Min-Soo said without any preliminary conversation. "They have been very cooperative and honest with us. A show of good faith might encourage them to be even more open about their own capabilities." Dae-ho raised an eyebrow. "That is against standard first contact protocol. We usually wait much longer before revealing advanced technology." "I know, but these humans are different. Their questions are very intelligent, and I suspect they are hiding some of their own technological achievements. A demonstration might convince them that we can be trusted with their secrets as well." After thinking for a moment, Dae-ho nodded. "Very well. We will perform a controlled warp jump that they can observe safely. But we will make sure all our drive systems are fully shielded. I do not want them learning anything they should not know." Chief Science Officer Hee-jin was called to the bridge to prepare for the demonstration. She worked with her team to ensure that all Federation ships had their warp field generators properly encrypted and shielded. No species in galactic history had ever managed to understand warp technology just from watching it work. But Hee-jin believed in being careful. "All ships report ready for demonstration jump," she informed Dae-ho. "We will move from Jupiter's orbit to Saturn's orbit. The jump will create a spectacular visual effect that the humans can observe from their planet and space stations, but our drives will remain completely secure." Ambassador Min-Soo contacted Dr. Ji-won Park on the space station to inform her about the upcoming demonstration. "Dr. Park, we would like to show your people something that might interest you. In 1 hour, our ships will demonstrate faster than light travel. You might want to have your telescopes and instruments ready to observe." Even through the radio transmission, Min-Soo could hear the excitement in Ji-won's voice. "Thank you for telling us. We will definitely be watching. This is incredible." On Earth, the news of the alien demonstration spread quickly through the scientific community. Dr. Ji-won had contacted her colleagues as soon as she received Min-Soo's message. Within minutes, every major observatory and research facility on the planet was preparing to record the event. Dr. Kyung-ho Lee worked frantically in his quantum mechanics laboratory to calibrate his most sensitive instruments. He specialized in detecting tiny distortions in space and time, and he knew that faster-than-light travel would create exactly the kind of phenomena he had spent his career studying. Dr. Yoon-young Choi, the materials engineer, focused her equipment on analyzing any exotic radiation that the alien ships might produce. Her deep space sensors were designed to detect new forms of matter and energy, and she suspected that warp travel would require both. At exactly the scheduled time, 12 Federation ships hung in perfect formation near Jupiter. From Earth, they looked like tiny bright stars against the giant planet's colorful surface. Every human scientist watched with held breath as the moment approached. The warp jump happened in an instant. One moment the ships were visible near Jupiter, and the next moment they had appeared near Saturn over 1 billion kilometers away. But the visual effect was stunning. Each ship had created a bubble of distorted space around itself, and these bubbles caused the light from nearby stars to bend and twist in beautiful patterns. Dr. Kyung-ho's instruments went crazy with readings. His screen showed massive gravitational waves rippling through space, followed by exotic particle emissions that he had never seen before. The energy signatures were incredible, far beyond anything human technology could produce. Dr. Yunyoung's sensors detected traces of matter that seemed to have negative mass, something that human scientists had theorized about but never actually observed. The aliens were somehow creating and controlling substances that barely existed in normal space. But it was Dr. Ji-Wan who made the most important observations. From her position on the space station, she had the clearest view of the warp effect. Her cameras and spectrometers recorded everything in perfect detail. As a theoretical physicist, she understood immediately what she was seeing. The alien ships were not moving through space in any conventional sense. Instead, they were compressing the space in front of them and expanding the space behind them. This created a wave in the fabric of reality itself that carried the ships faster than light could travel through normal space. Ji-Wan's heart raced as she realized the implications. The aliens were manipulating gravity on a scale that humans had never imagined possible. They were treating space and time like clay that could be shaped and molded to their will. Down on Earth, the demonstration had been visible to anyone with a good telescope. Social media exploded with videos and photographs of the amazing light show, but most people saw only pretty colors and did not understand the incredible science behind what they had witnessed. The scientific community was different. Within hours of the demonstration, secure communications networks were buzzing with preliminary analysis and theories. Research teams across the globe worked through the night, comparing data and trying to understand what they had seen. Dr. Ji-Wan coordinated much of this effort from the space station. Her unique vantage point had provided the best data, and she shared her findings freely with colleagues around the world. She was too excited by the scientific discovery to worry about national boundaries or institutional rivalries. The key is in the gravitational field manipulation, she explained during a secure video conference with dozens of Earth's top physicists. They are creating localized distortions in space-time using some kind of exotic matter with negative energy density. Dr. Kyung-ho, participating from his laboratory, added his own observations. The particle emissions suggest they are generating this exotic matter on demand, probably using controlled fusion reactions in ways we never considered possible. Dr. Yoon-young contributed her analysis of the materials science implications. The field generators must be made from substances that can withstand incredible gravitational stresses, but I think I can see patterns in the energy signatures that suggest how such materials might be created. As the discussion continued, a remarkable thing began to happen. The human scientists started connecting ideas in ways that surprised even themselves. Their different specialties combined to form a more complete picture of warp drive technology than any one researcher could have developed alone. Dr. Hwan Park, a young theorist who had been quietly listening to the conversation, suddenly spoke up with an insight that stunned everyone. What if we do not need to copy their exact methods? Our fusion technology works on completely different principles than theirs, but fusion reactions can create the same kinds of exotic particles. We might be able to achieve the same effect using our own approach. The video conference fell silent, as dozens of brilliant minds considered this possibility. Dr. Ji-Wan was the first to respond. Hwan, I think you might be right. We have been assuming that we need to understand their technology, but maybe we just need to understand the physics, principles, and then develop our own solutions. Meanwhile, aboard the Stellar Harmony, Captain Dae-ho was pleased with how the demonstration had gone. The humans had observed everything with obvious fascination, and their radio transmissions were filled with excitement and gratitude. The demonstration was a complete success, Ambassador Min-soo reported. The humans were very impressed, and I believe this has strengthened the trust between our peoples. Chief Science Officer Hee-jin nodded in agreement. All our security protocols worked perfectly. The humans observed the warp effect, but there is no way they could have learned anything useful about our actual drive systems. The field generators were completely shielded, and our exotic matter creation methods remained secret. Excellent, Dae-ho replied. Continue monitoring their communications and scientific activities. I want to know how they react to what they have seen. But Hee-jin's monitoring equipment was focused on obvious transmissions and did not detect the more subtle activities happening throughout Earth's solar system. Hidden asteroid mining stations were quietly being converted into research facilities. Deep space manufacturing platforms were beginning to produce new types of experimental equipment, And in secret laboratories around Earth, brilliant scientists were working with a level of intensity and focus that few species could match. The humans had indeed been impressed by the Federation's demonstration of warp technology. But rather than being discouraged by the vast gap between human and alien capabilities, they saw it as a challenge to be overcome. Where other species might have waited patiently for knowledge to be shared with them, deep in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, a facility that appeared to be a simple mining operation was actually humanity's most advanced research center. The asteroid, designated as Mining Platform 7, had been hollowed out years ago and converted into a secret laboratory where Earth's brightest minds worked on projects too dangerous or sensitive for planet-based facilities. Dr. Sujin Yu floated through the zero-gravity corridors of the hidden base, her mind racing with possibilities. As Earth's leading expert in gravitational physics, she had been called to Platform 7 immediately after the alien demonstration. The data from that incredible display of warp technology was already being analyzed by teams of scientists working around the clock. "Dr. Yu," called engineer Dong-Wook Han as she passed the main workshop, "could you look at these field equations? I think we might have found something important." Sujin pushed off the wall and glided over to where Dong-Wook was working with a team of technicians. Holographic displays showed complex mathematical formulas floating in the air above their workstation. The equations described how space and time could be curved and twisted by controlled gravitational fields. "Show me what you have discovered," Sujin said, studying the glowing symbols with intense concentration. Dong-Wook gestured to the central display. "We have been analyzing the warp field signatures from the alien demonstration. The key insight came from Dr. Huan Park back on Earth. He realized that we do not need to copy the alien technology exactly. We just need to achieve the same physical effect using our own methods." Sujin nodded slowly as she began to understand. "You are saying we can create the same space-time distortion using human fusion technology instead of whatever exotic systems the aliens use?" "Exactly. Look at these calculations. If we modify our most powerful fusion reactors to operate in a specific resonance pattern, we can generate the exotic matter particles needed for warp field creation. The aliens probably use some kind of biological or crystalline matrix to control their exotic matter, but we can use electromagnetic fields and quantum processors." The implications were staggering. Humanity had been developing fusion technology for decades, constantly improving the magnetic containment systems and fuel injection mechanisms. Those same systems, with the right modifications, could potentially manipulate the fabric of space itself. Sujin called up her own research files and began running calculations. "If this works, we will need a test platform, something large enough to generate a meaningful warp field but small enough that we can build it quickly and secretly." "We already have the perfect candidate," Dong-Wook replied with excitement. "The Terran Pioneer." The Terran Pioneer was humanity's most advanced deep space research vessel. It had been built in secret over the past 5 years. Officially listed as a joint project between several mining companies, but actually funded by a consortium of Earth governments. The ship was designed to test new propulsion systems and life support technologies in the harsh environment of deep space. "The Pioneer is currently docked at Construction Platform 2, Dong-Wook continued. "We could retrofit it with warp capability in a matter of weeks if we work continuously. The basic fusion systems are already in place and the hull is strong enough to withstand the gravitational stresses." Sujin felt a thrill of excitement mixed with terror. What they were proposing was incredibly dangerous. Warp fields involved forces that could literally tear apart the fabric of reality. One mistake could destroy not just their ship, but potentially damage spacetime in ways that might affect the entire solar system. But the alternative was waiting centuries for the aliens to decide that humanity was ready for advanced technology. And Sujin, like most humans, was not patient enough to wait that long. "Contact Construction Platform 2, she told Dong-Wook. "Tell them to prepare the Pioneer for immediate modification. And get me a secure line to Dr. Huan Park on Earth. If we are going to do this, we will need his theoretical expertise every step of the way." Within hours, the secret human space facilities throughout the solar system were buzzing with activity. Construction Platform 2, hidden behind Jupiter's largest moon, began the process of completely rebuilding the Terran Pioneer's propulsion system. Mining platforms that had been extracting rare metals from asteroids switched to producing the exotic alloys needed for warp field generators. Dr. Juan Park, working from his laboratory on Earth, developed the theoretical framework that would make human warp drive possible. He was young for such an important project, barely 30 years old, but his mind worked in ways that older scientists found hard to follow. While other researchers tried to understand exactly how alien technology worked, Juan focused on the underlying physics principles. The aliens compress space in front of their ships and expand space behind them, he explained during a secure video conference with the Platform 7 team. But there are multiple ways to achieve this effect. We do not need their exact methods. We just need to create a controlled gravitational wave that propagates faster than light. Dr. Yoon-Young Choi, the materials engineer, worked with teams of technicians to develop the components needed for human warp technology. Where the aliens used unknown crystalline matrices, humans would use metamaterials created through advanced, three-dimensional printing techniques. Where aliens used biological neural networks, humans would use quantum computers. The beauty of this approach, Yoon-Young explained to her assistants, is that we are building on technology we already understand. Our quantum processors are different from alien systems, but they can perform the same calculations. Our metamaterials have different properties than alien crystals, but they can channel the same forces. The work was incredibly challenging. Scientists had to solve problems that had taken other species centuries to overcome, and they had to do it in a matter of weeks. But humans had advantages that other species lacked. Their brains evolved for rapid adaptation and creative problem-solving, excelled at making connections between seemingly unrelated concepts. Captain So Young had been commanding deep space research missions for over a decade. When she received the classified orders to report to Construction Platform 2, she knew something extraordinary was happening. But even her extensive experience had not prepared her for what she found when she arrived at the hidden facility. The Terran Pioneer barely looked like the same ship she remembered. The entire aft section had been rebuilt around a massive new engine system that glowed with barely contained energy. Teams of engineers and scientists swarmed over every surface, installing equipment that looked like nothing she had ever seen before. Captain So Young, Engineer Minwoo Kim greeted her as she floated through the main airlock. Welcome to humanity's first warp-capable vessel. So Young stared at the incredible machine that surrounded them. Are you telling me that we have built a faster-than-light drive? In less than a month? We have built something that should work, Minwoo replied carefully. The theory is sound, and the initial tests have been promising, but we will not know for certain until we attempt an actual warp jump. Navigator Haewon Lee joined them, carrying datapads full of calculations and star charts. Captain, if this works, we will be able to travel to any star system within 100 light-years of Earth. The drive should be capable of speeds that even exceed what we observed from the alien ships. The next 2 weeks were a blur of final preparations and system tests. The warp drive operated on principles completely different from the Federation technology, but early simulations suggested it would be even more efficient. Human engineering focused on redundancy and reliability rather than elegance, resulting in a system that was crude but powerful. Dr. Soo Jin worked directly with the Pioneer's crew to ensure they understood the new technology. The warp field will completely surround our ship, she explained during a briefing session. We will exist inside a bubble of distorted space-time that moves faster than light through normal space. From our perspective, the journey will be instantaneous, but observers outside the field will see us disappear from one location and reappear at another. Captain So Young asked the question that was on everyone's mind. What are the risks? Honestly, we do not know, Soo-Jin admitted. The mathematics suggest that the process should be safe, but we are venturing into completely unknown territory. If something goes wrong with the field generators, we could be scattered across several dimensions. If the exotic matter becomes unstable, we could create a gravitational anomaly that collapses into a black hole. The crew absorbed this information with the calm professionalism that characterized humanity's best space explorers. They had all volunteered for dangerous missions before, and they understood that pushing the boundaries of human knowledge always involved serious risks. "When do we make the first test?" So Young asked. "Tomorrow," Sujin replied. "We will attempt a short jump to the edge of the solar system. If that works, we will try longer distances until we are confident in the system's reliability." That night, Captain So Young floated in her quarters aboard the Pioneer and looked out at the stars. Somewhere among those distant lights, alien civilizations were traveling between worlds, using technology they considered too advanced for humans to understand. Ambassador Min-Su prepared carefully for his return visit to the Federation fleet. He carried with him humanity's formal application for membership in the Galactic Federation, along with detailed documentation of human achievements and technological capabilities. The documents had been prepared to show humanity in the best possible light, while carefully concealing their most advanced projects. The shuttle bay of the Stellar Harmony was filled with activity as diplomatic staff prepared for the important meeting. Captain Daeho wanted everything to be perfect for humanity's membership evaluation. This was always a significant moment in galactic history when a new species requested to join the community of star-traveling civilizations. "The humans have prepared very impressive documentation," Min-Su told Daeho as they reviewed the materials together. "Their achievements in chemistry, physics, and engineering are remarkable for such a young civilization. However, they are still clearly centuries away from developing faster-than-light travel." Chief Science Officer Haye Jin nodded in agreement as she studied the human technical specifications. "Their fusion reactors are crude but functional. Their spacecraft designs show creativity, but rely on primitive chemical propulsion. I estimate they will need at least 300 years of steady development before they could even begin to understand warp field theory." "That is consistent with what we have observed," Daeho replied. "We will follow standard protocol and recommend that they continue developing independently until they reach the appropriate technological threshold." The formal meeting took place in the Federation flagship's main conference room. Representatives from several member species attended via holographic projection to evaluate humanity's application. The room was designed to be impressive, with walls that showed live views of distant galaxies and furniture made from materials that existed nowhere else in known space. Min-Su presented humanity's case with his usual diplomatic skill. He described human culture, government systems, and scientific achievements in terms that made them sound appropriately primitive but promising. The Federation representatives listened politely and asked the standard questions about human social development and technological progress. "The humans show great potential," concluded Counselor Vexhai, an elderly representative whose species had joined the Federation over 2,000 years ago. "However, their current technological level is insufficient for full membership. We recommend placing them in provisional status with a re-evaluation scheduled in 500 Earth years." Daeho was about to formally accept this recommendation when Lieutenant Yuna's voice came over the bridge communication system. "Captain, I am detecting an anomalous energy signature approaching our position. The readings do not match any known Federation technology." "Excuse me for a moment," Daeho said to the assembled diplomats. He activated his personal communicator to contact the bridge. "Lieutenant, can you be more specific about these readings?" "Sir, it appears to be some kind of warp signature, but the field geometry is completely unlike anything in our databases. Whatever is approaching us uses faster-than-light travel, but operates on entirely different principles than Federation drives." Hyojin felt a cold shock of realization. "Captain, request permission to return to the bridge immediately. If there is an unknown warp-capable vessel in our vicinity, this could represent a first contact situation with a previously unknown species." The diplomatic meeting was quickly suspended as Federation officers rushed to their stations. The main screen on the bridge showed the space around their fleet, with sensor readings indicating the approach of something that should not have existed. "Contact in 30 seconds, reported the sensor operator. "The unknown vessel is dropping out of warp directly beside our position." What materialized next to the Stellar Harmony was impossible according to everything the Federation knew about technological development. A human spacecraft clearly recognizable by its design, aesthetic, and construction materials hung in space displaying a warp signature that indicated faster-than-light capability. The bridge fell completely silent. Every Federation officer stared at the screen in disbelief. The humans, who were supposed to be centuries away from understanding warp travel, had somehow developed their own faster-than-light drive in less than a month. "This is impossible," Hye-jin whispered, her instruments confirming what her eyes refused to believe. "The warp field geometry is completely different from ours, but it is definitely functional. How did they develop this technology so quickly?" Captain Daeho felt a mixture of amazement and concern. If humans could reverse engineer advanced technology after a single observation, they represented either the greatest opportunity or the greatest threat that the Federation had ever encountered. The communication system crackled to life with a transmission from the human vessel. "Federation ships, this is Captain So Young of the Terran Pioneer. We request permission to come aboard for membership negotiations." Daeho found his voice after a moment of stunned silence. "Captain So Young, this is Captain Daeho of the Stellar Harmony. Your presence here is unexpected. How did you develop warp capability so quickly?" "We observed your demonstration and developed our own approach to faster-than-light travel," So Young replied matter-of-factly. "Human scientists specialize in rapid adaptation and creative problem-solving. We do not usually wait for others to share knowledge when we can discover it ourselves." On the human ship, Dr. Ji-won Park was preparing for the most important scientific presentation of her career. She had been working non-stop for weeks developing technical documentation that would explain human warp technology to alien scientists. The challenge was enormous because human methods were completely different from Federation approaches. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission from the Federation flagship," reported Navigator Haewon Lee. "They are requesting detailed information about our drive system and permission to send a science team to examine our technology." "Grant both requests," So Young replied. "Dr. Park, are you ready to show them what human ingenuity can accomplish?" Dr. Ji-won checked her datapads one final. "We're ready, Captain. I think they are going to be very surprised." The diplomatic shuttle that carried Ji-won to the Federation flagship was very different from the primitive human vessels that Min-soo had observed during first contact. This craft moved with the same impossible smoothness as Federation technology, but its energy signatures were completely unique. When Ji-won materialized in the Stellar Harmony's transporter room, she found herself facing a crowd of alien scientists who stared at her with expressions of amazement and disbelief. "Chief Science." Officer Hye-jin stepped forward, her usual calm demeanor replaced by barely contained excitement. "Dr. Park, I am Chief Science Officer Hye-jin. I must ask you directly, how did your species develop warp technology so rapidly? Our most optimistic estimates suggested it would take your people centuries to achieve faster-than-light travel." Ji-won smiled at the alien scientist's obvious confusion. "We did not try to copy your technology, Officer Hye-jin. We studied the physical principles behind warp travel and developed our own methods. Human science focuses on finding multiple solutions to the same problem rather than perfecting a single approach. But the complexity involved," Hye-jin protested. "Warp field theory requires understanding of exotic matter physics, multidimensional mathematics, and gravitational field manipulation. These are concepts that took my people over 3 centuries to master." "Yes, but your people probably approached these problems sequentially, building understanding slowly over many generations," Ji-won replied. "Humans work differently. We had teams of specialists attacking every aspect of the problem simultaneously. When one group made a breakthrough, they shared it immediately with everyone else. Our collaborative approach allows us to advance much faster than individual researchers working in isolation." The group moved to the Federation's main science laboratory, where Ji-won began her presentation. She activated a holographic projector that displayed the technical specifications for human warp drive technology. The alien scientists gathered around, studying the unfamiliar designs with intense interest. "Your exotic matter generation system is completely different from ours," observed Dr. Tal Ven, a specialist in warp field dynamics. "We use crystalline matrices to channel exotic particles through biological neural networks. You appear to be using electromagnetic containment fields controlled by quantum computational systems. Exactly, Jiwan confirmed. We do not have biological neural networks or crystalline matrices with the properties you use, so we developed alternatives using technologies we already understood. Our quantum computers can perform the same calculations as your biological systems, but they operate millions of times faster. He-Jin studied the human design with growing amazement. Your approach is actually more efficient than ours. The electromagnetic containment system allows for much more precise control of exotic matter flow, and your field generators produce cleaner warp signatures with less energy waste. We also built in multiple redundancy systems, Jiwan added. Human engineering philosophy emphasizes reliability over elegance. Our drive might not be as beautiful as yours, but it is much less likely to fail catastrophically. The emergency session of the Galactic Federation Council convened on the ancient space station that had served as the government center for over 2,000 years. Representatives from 47 different species gathered in the Great Assembly Hall, their various forms of communication creating a symphony of sounds that the universal translators worked constantly to interpret. Council Speaker Mordan, whose species had founded the Federation millennia ago, called the session to order with grave formality. Fellow members, we face an unprecedented situation. The species known as humans has achieved faster than light travel in less than 1 standard month after observing Federation technology. This rapid advancement raises questions about our fundamental assumptions regarding technological development and species integration. Murmurs of concern and amazement rippled through the assembly. Some representatives feared that humanity represented a threat to galactic stability, while others saw incredible opportunities for technological advancement. The debate that followed would reshape the Federation's future. Councillor Vexhai, representing one of the Federation's oldest member species, spoke first. The humans' rapid technological development is deeply troubling. No species in galactic history has ever achieved such advancement so quickly. This suggests either that they possess capabilities far beyond what they have revealed, or that they are fundamentally different from every other known form of intelligent life. Different does not necessarily mean dangerous, countered Dr. Zen Kara, a scientist whose species had joined the Federation only 500 years ago. The humans have shown no signs of aggressive intent. Their technology development appears focused on exploration and scientific advancement rather than military applications. Captain Dae Ho had been invited to address the council directly. As the Federation officer with the most experience dealing with humans, his testimony would be crucial in determining humanity's fate. Honored council members, Dae Ho began, I have observed human behavior closely during our first contact period. They are remarkably cooperative and eager to share knowledge. When Dr. Jiwan Park presented their warp drive technology to our science team, she freely offered to collaborate on joint research projects. This is not the behavior of a species planning conquest or domination. Chief Science Officer Hye-Jin supported her captain's assessment. The human approach to technological development is unlike anything we have seen before. Where other species develop specialized expertise in narrow fields, humans excel at connecting knowledge across multiple disciplines. This allows them to solve problems that would take other species much longer to overcome. The debate continued for hours, as council members wrestled with the implications of humanity's rapid advancement. Some argued for immediate restrictions on human expansion, while others advocated for full partnership. The decision would affect not just humanity, but the future direction of galactic civilization. Meanwhile, on Earth, the news of successful warp drive development had electrified the global scientific community. Research facilities around the world were working frantically to understand and improve upon the breakthrough achieved by the pioneer team. The collaborative spirit that had made the original success possible was now being applied to dozens of related projects. Dr. Su Jin, found herself at the center of a research effort involving thousands of scientists from every major nation on Earth. The hidden asteroid facilities that had developed the first warp drive were now openly acknowledged, and their work was being expanded at an incredible pace. We have 12 more ships under construction, reported engineer Dong-Wook Han during a project coordination meeting. Each one incorporates improvements based on what we learned from the Pioneer's test flights. The new drives will be more efficient, more reliable, and capable of longer jumps. Dr. Hwan Park, the young theorist whose insights had made human warp drive possible, was already working on even more advanced concepts. I believe we can develop technology that surpasses what we have observed from the Federation, he told the assembled researchers. Our approach to exotic matter manipulation opens possibilities that their biological systems cannot achieve. Captain So Young had become something of a celebrity among Earth's space exploration community. The success of humanity's first warp jump had made her the most famous space commander in human history, but she remained focused on the practical challenges of exploring a galaxy filled with unknown dangers and wonders. We need to be careful about how quickly we expand, she warned during a briefing with Earth's space agencies. The galaxy is vast and filled with civilizations we know nothing about. Our rapid technological development gives us capabilities, but it does not give us wisdom about how to use them responsibly. Back in Federation space, the Council debate was finally reaching a conclusion. After days of discussion, a consensus began to emerge that would change the nature of galactic civilization forever. Council Speaker Mordan called for a final vote. The proposal before us is to grant humanity immediate full membership status, with the additional designation of Technological Innovation Center. This would make Earth the Federation's primary facility for experimental research and rapid technology development. The vote was closer than many had expected, but the proposal passed by a significant margin. Humanity would not just join the Federation, they would become its engine of technological progress. Chief Science Officer Hye Jin was appointed to lead the first joint Human Federation research project. Her team would work directly with human scientists to combine Federation knowledge with human innovation techniques. The project's goal was ambitious: develop technologies that could benefit all galactic civilizations. Dr. Park, Hye Jin said, during their first joint meeting on the Terran Pioneer, I must admit that I initially underestimated human capabilities. Your species' approach to scientific research is unlike anything I have encountered in 30 years of galactic exploration. Ji-won smiled at the alien scientist's honest admission. Officer Hye Jin, we have much to learn from Federation knowledge and experience. Our rapid development is impressive, but it lacks the depth and wisdom that comes from centuries of careful study. Working together, we can achieve things that neither of our peoples could accomplish alone. The first joint project focused on improving warp drive efficiency by combining human electromagnetic control systems with Federation biological neural networks. The hybrid design that emerged was revolutionary, capable of faster speeds with dramatically reduced energy consumption. Within 6 months of first contact, human-designed improvements were being integrated into Federation vessels throughout the galaxy. Ships that had taken days to travel between star systems could now make the same journeys in hours. Exploration missions that had been planned for decades could be completed in months. Captain So Young found herself commanding the first mixed-crew exploration vessel with human and alien officers working side by side. The ship, designated as the New Horizon, was tasked with pushing into unexplored regions of the galaxy using hybrid human Federation technology. Navigation report, So Young requested as they prepared for their first long-range mission. Course, plotted for the Andromeda border region, replied Navigator Haewon Lee, working alongside her Federation counterpart, Sub-Commander Tel Win. Estimated travel time using hybrid drive system, 14 standard days. Remarkable, Tel Win commented. Using traditional Federation drives, this journey would have required 6 months. The success of human Federation cooperation spread rapidly throughout galactic civilization. Other species began requesting human assistance with technological challenges that had puzzled them for centuries. Earth became a destination for scientists and engineers from across the galaxy, all hoping to learn from humanity's unique approach to innovation. Dr. Yoon-Young Choi established the galaxy's first Interspecies Technology Institute on Earth's moon. The facility brought together the brightest minds from dozens of different civilizations, all working on projects that combined multiple technological paradigms. The key to human success, she explained to a gathering of alien researchers, is our willingness to try approaches that might fail. Other species spend years ensuring that their theories are perfect before attempting practical applications. Humans prefer to build prototypes and test them immediately. We learn as much from our failures as from our successes. This philosophy of rapid experimentation and iterative improvement began spreading throughout Federation space. Species that had spent centuries perfecting single technologies began adopting human methods of parallel development and collaborative research. The transformation of galactic civilization accelerated beyond anyone's expectations. New technologies emerged monthly instead of yearly. Problems that had seemed unsolvable for millennia were conquered in weeks by teams combining human innovation with alien expertise. 5 years after first contact, Dr. Ji-Won Park stood in the HFY observation deck of New Geneva Station, humanity's first permanent outpost in deep galactic space. Through the transparent walls, she could see ships from dozens of different civilizations arriving and departing, all equipped with hybrid technologies that had been developed through Human Federation cooperation.